I'm Ashlyn.
And I'm Zach.
And we're traveling A to Z.
This week we're in Lake Louise, Canada.
Join us as we show you the top 7 things we recommend doing around Lake Louise. Our first recommendation, if you can, is to stay at the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise.
So we made it to Chateau Lake Louise, where we're gonna stay the night. Fairmont Lake Louise.
We're heading to go find our room.
6940. You have to take one elevator, go up, and then have to take another elevator to get to your room.
This is a very big hotel and there's a lot of halls.
Here's our room. 2 double beds. Okay, nice little sitting area. And a tree view. Ooh, it's actually a decent sized bathroom, way bigger than.
Oh, good. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tub. The Fairmont special shampoo.
We're now going to give you a little tour of the hotel.
This is the old chateau of Lake Louise that was built in 1890. Little tiny cabin. Hotel for the outdoor adventurous and alpinist. So this is supposed to be the glacier that was formed over 10,000 years ago, and it's been receding for thousands of years.
So it used to be called Lake of Little Fishies. I wonder if there's actually little fishies there.
We did not see any fish in this lake, but I'm guessing they had little tiny fishies since it used to be called the Lake of Little Fishies a long time ago. The Canadian Pacific Railway was built along Lake Louise, Banff, and Yolo National Park, and that is one of the reasons this hotel is here. Okay, trees and grass on the roof.
They have a nice pool and hot tub that was open till 11 p.m. at night. The Fairmont at Lake Louise has multiple different restaurants and bars you can enjoy. We tried the Alpine Social, which we had a drink at. We ate at the Lakeview Lounge that has an amazing view of Lake Louise as you dine. For breakfast, they have a great buffet with lots of different options and even a menu you could order from that's included in the buffet.
This is the gorgeous Lake Louise.
Our next recommendation is go canoeing on Lake Louise.
It's like 6 in the morning and we are gonna go do the sunrise canoe ride. So when you stay at the Fairmont, you could have the opportunity to do this without any of the other tourists and just the people that stay at the Fairmont, and you have to book ahead of time. So this is what we're doing. We are going canoeing. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. This is the way to do it. I think there's like maybe 8 boats on this whole lake on the morning sunrise paddle. And you get a paddle for an hour and a half, which you usually only get an hour. So this is nice. And you get the gorgeous sunrise. Look at that on the mountain. And over the Chateau Fairmont. Stroke.
Long live the queen.
Stroke. Stroke. Granted, they did say only 2 people are allowed to paddle. It is so peaceful and quiet. All you can hear is the strokes. So we got this for an hour and a half. It was great. I think an hour, if you have a time to do an hour, I think that'd be sufficient. But an hour and a half was really nice. Oh yeah, you could go, we went all the way back, sat in the middle, did a whole loop, sat some more in an hour and a half. Easily do it in an hour. Half an hour, unless you just want to sit in the middle of the water, and that would be fine, but not enough time to go all the way to the end. But yeah, the sunrise canoe trip, definitely highly recommend it. It was beautiful, and you didn't have to deal with all the people in the crowd to see the sunrise.
Our next recommendation is to check out the Lake Louise Lakeshore hike. This is a 2.8 mile out and back trail that is relatively easy and flat. It takes approximately 55 minutes to complete. It's really popular and has gorgeous views of the lake as you walk.
We made it to the bottom by the Lake Louise at the end. It's 2 kilometers back to the Fairmont. A lot of people will do this hike. It's a flat hike from the Fairmont, or the other end of Lake Louise, and it's flat the whole way. So I recommend it if you have some time to do it.
Our next recommendation is to hike to the teahouses. We used all trails and we did the teahouse trail. This hike makes a loop and visits both of the teahouses. It is around 8.9 miles if you only go to the second teahouse, and you gain approximately 2,447 feet elevation.
You actually take the hike from the Fairmont and then you just hike right along the lake. Here, there's the Lake Louise, Chateau Lake Louise, and this is the trail up to the tea house. But we're basically heading up the right side of Lake Louise. We're almost exactly 2 miles in, and we arrived to Mirror Lake. Once you get to Mirror Lake, you could go to the right, which we're gonna do first, and go to Lake Agnes, where the first tea house is. And it's about 0.8 kilometers, so about a half a mile. So at about 2.6 miles, almost to the tea house, we have a little cascade of a waterfall. This is the Lake Agnes tea house behind me. A little shy of 1,300 feet elevation gain to get to the first tea house, and it took us around 2.4 miles total. This tea house is open from about June to October, and it closes during the winter. So here they have tea, hot chocolate, lemonade, scones, sandwiches, soup, a few different items that you could get. We just had tea at the tea house and it was really good. Now we're heading to the big beehive. And that is the view of Lake Louise from Big Beehive. Pretty cool. And then in the distance, you could see the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. So the outlook is gorgeous, you must do. And now we are heading to the Plain of Six Glaciers. We made it to the Tibetan tea house. This is the Plains of Glaciers tea house behind us. You can get food, drinks, snacks, lunch. It's really nice. We made it to the tea house, and now we're heading up to the lookout of Plain of Six Glaciers. That view is amazing. And even behind me, it's amazing. You have Lake Louise in the background, and then glaciers in the background there. Awesome.
Our next recommendation is to visit Moraine Lake.
We made it to Moraine Lake. So this is a very, very popular lake. It's supposed to be a very blue color. If you don't get here super early, get a parking spot, they close the road. But at around 8 at night, they reopen the parking lot and then you can come. So it's unfortunately a little later, it's like 9:15, the sun just went down, but we're gonna check it out. You could drive up here or you could take a shuttle or a bus, which is pretty much the only way you could do it. And they recommend going to the rock pile that overlooks the lake. It's about a half a mile total. So the rock pile looks like a rock pile, but they're nice rock steps. So as long as you go up and down steps, not too hard.
We made it to the top of the rock pile, and it's a flat section that has lots of seating areas and the gorgeous view of the lake.
This is Moraine Lake. This is a gorgeous blue color lake. Moraine Lake changes colors based on the time of day and also the time of the year.
So when the glacier scrubs the rocks, it creates something called rock flour. It's basically ground up little pieces of rock from glaciers. And as it gets washed down the hill, it ends up in the lake that you see back there. A little bit of rock flour makes it look nice and blue or green or whatever color you think it looks right now. But too much of it and it gets cloudy. So this has like the perfect amount of rock flour in the water.
In Lake Louise that we've seen earlier, it has a lot more cloudy, milky color because it has more rock flour. And it's hard to see, but there's 10 peaks that surround this lake all the way around it. But down there in the distance, there's a whole bunch of logs, and those are floating logs. Those are from on the water. So people have been trying to climb over those logs, and a couple fell in. It was pretty funny. Don't climb on the logs.
So Moraine Lake is only open during the summer. They close it during the winter because of the bears and the avalanches. They have a lot of avalanches in this area, and then the bears, after hibernation, come up. They're pretty hungry, so then they dig into the actual bottom of the avalanche and find like some of the dead animals that have basically been refrigerated. There's still a lot of bears in this area, and just even hiking, you're supposed to go in a group of 4 to help scare the bears away. Our next recommendation is to visit Peyto Lake.
So behind me is Peyto Lake, and this is Peyto Glacier. This lake feeds Peyto River, which you can see all the way to Calgary.
Located alongside Peyto Lake is Crowfoot Glacier.
Behind me is Crow Glacier. It's a hanging glacier, and it kind of looks like a crow's foot. Except for now it only has 2 little feet versus 3 because it's melting.
Our last recommendation is to see Peyto Lake.
We just got to the parking lot at Peyto Lake, and we're gonna walk down. It's supposed to be one of the most beautiful lakes. Wow. Behind me is Peyto Lake and then the glacier. It is beautiful. So the lake is a blue-green color, and that's because of the rock flour. So here you could see how the rock flour absorbs all the spectrum of light except for the blue-green, and that's why it's reflected out, and that's why we see the blue-green color. Look at the glacier, Peyto Glacier in 1885. So they definitely have a nice viewing platform. There's 2 parking lots. There's a handicap kind of parking lot, and I guess that's where the buses are. And then there's the lower one, which is the main parking lot for the cars, which is where you should park.
Join us for our next video as we show you some of the top spots to visit in Yoho National Park. Please subscribe below to follow more of our adventures. Thank you for watching.